Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield, a topic that we have covered a lot here on the channel this season, but there are two articles over at NFL.com that I wanted to talk about today, give my thoughts and opinions about it, and get your guys' thoughts and opinions about it as well. The first article I want to take a look at is the NFL Quarterback Index for Week 16. Nick Shook, around the NFL writer, does this every single week where he ranks the quarterbacks in the NFL from 1 to 32. And if you guys notice from the headline, Baker Mayfield enters the top 10. So that initially made me question, is Baker Mayfield a top 10 quarterback this season? And I wanted to dive into it today. So Brock Purdy's up at number 1. Not really a lot of surprises there. Tua T's coming in at number 2. Patrick Mahomes, number 3. Dak Prescott is in at number 4. Number 5, you have Lamar Jackson. You keep on going. Matthew Stafford's coming in at number 6. At number 7, you've got Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. Number 8 is Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. He's been having a fantastic year. And then coming in at number 9, you've got Baker Mayfield jumping from 13 in the rankings last week, as you guys can see indicated under his ranking. He's moved up 4 spots to number 9 this week. Now, part of that is because of the big game that Mayfield had last week against the Green Bay Packers, where he threw for 4 touchdowns, and it was just absolutely amazing. I don't have to tell you guys that, but taking a look at his overall stats this year, it is also kind of actually understandable to see Mayfield up this high in a quarterback ranking. And let's go ahead and see what Nick Shook said here, talking about how this is the best that Mayfield has played. This is the best that he's ever seen Mayfield play in his career, talking about Dave Canales and all the different types of things that he's done to help Mayfield so far this year, and that is very accurate in my opinion. It also talks about the recent game against the Green Bay Packers and how good Baker Mayfield did with that. But you take a look here, he might never be as good as he was on Sunday, but if he can consistently be close to that, he'll be the quarterback in Tampa long beyond 2023. And what's so interesting is that Nick Shook has Baker Mayfield ranked above guys like Trevor Lawrence, who the Buccaneers play this week, Jalen Hurts, who a lot of people considered to be an MVP candidate, still probably will be, Jordan Love, who's had a very solid season in his own right, Russell Wilson, who's had a very solid season in his own right. And then you've got, this kind of showcases, right, why Baker Mayfield may be all the way up here at number 9. So many quarterbacks have been hurt this year, like Joe Burrow isn't the starter anymore this year. Joe Flacco is like the 4th quarterback that the Cleveland Browns have had. You keep on going down the list. Derek Carr's been hurt multiple times this year. Kyler Murray hasn't played a full season. Anthony Richardson isn't with the team right now. He got hurt, so Gardner Minshew's been playing most of the year. You had Jimmy Garoppolo get hurt and then get benched. You had Kirk Cousins get hurt this year. You had Will Levis sub in for a Ryan Tannehill. Daniel Jones hasn't played a full season. Geno Smith has been hurt and hasn't been able to play a whole season. You have CJ Stroud, who's been dealing with a lot of injuries. You had Mac Jones get benched, and Bailey Zapp had to come in, and just a few other different. Aaron Rodgers got hurt and wasn't able to play the whole year. Kenny Pickett's been hurt and hasn't been able to play the whole year. Justin Herbert got hurt and hasn't been able to play the whole year. So I mean, like there's a lot of factors that go into Baker Mayfield being all the way up here at number 9, especially when you look at all these other guys who are ranked below Mayfield. Like, yeah, Mayfield should be pretty high ranked on these type of lists, but I don't want that to take away from the year that Mayfield has had. He genuinely has had a good year so far, and I believe Nick Shook whenever he says, like, hey, if Mayfield can keep on playing even close to as good as he was last week against the Packers, yeah, the Bucs are going to be wanting to keep Baker Mayfield around. And that kind of leads into my next article, or the next article we're taking a look at from Bucky Brooks. It's contract year winners, 10 ascending players poised to break the bank in 2024 NFL free agency. Now, breaking the bank isn't necessarily what I would describe for Baker Mayfield this upcoming season, but he is earning himself some money. And of course, Baker Mayfield is on this list. And Bucky Brooks goes on to talk about how Mayfield has resurrected his career with his debut season in Tampa Bay. He was playing on a 1-year deal worth $4 million, and that's a great deal for the Bucs. I mean, absolutely fantastic. The Bucs are at the top of the NFC South right now. Talks about how Mayfield is fitting very well into Dave Canales' system, and he has been very good this year as a distributor, as a game manager, and just leading this Bucs team with just good, solid leadership. And this last line here I want to look at, Mayfield has changed the narrative around his game and reemerged as a viable starter in this league. I feel like that's fair. I do feel like that is a fair thing to say. And I even wanted to go deeper and take a look at the stats so far this year. So in terms of passing yards, Mayfield is at 14th in the league. He's above guys like Lamar Jackson. He's above guys like Russell Wilson and some of these other quarterbacks who, have admittedly been hurt throughout the year. What is interesting, though, is passing touchdowns, where Mayfield comes in at number 8. He is above guys like Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert, Sam Howell. Jalen Hurts is a little bit farther down that list. Trevor Lawrence is a little bit far down that list, coming in at number 16. Lamar Jackson is farther down that list. Mayfield, be it, for other guys getting hurt or whatnot, is statistically still putting up a very solid year. I'm not going to say he's going to lead the league, but he could finish at number 3 possibly for passing touchdowns this year. He's only 2 behind the guy who's at number 3 right now in Jared Goff and Josh Allen. He could absolutely finish at number 3 if he finishes the year very strong in terms of passing touchdowns and whatnot. And then in terms of interceptions, he's right in the middle of the league at 8. Guys who have more interceptions this year than Mayfield. You look at guys like Stafford. You look at guys like Trevor Lawrence to a T. Jared Goff has more interceptions. Jordan Love has more interceptions. Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Howell. These are all guys who are all the guys for their respective teams. And Mayfield has less turnovers, so to speak, in terms of interceptions, at least, than all of those guys. So, it isn't crazy to say that, yes, Mayfield has looked good in a contract year. And yes, given all the context in the world, Mayfield has been playing like a top 10 quarterback in the league this year. Has he had some help from a lot of guys getting hurt? Yes, he has. Maybe if everybody was healthy, though, maybe he'd be knocked down maybe 14, 15, something along those lines. That's still great value for where the Bucs paid Mayfield and for where a lot of people thought the Bucs and Mayfield were going to be at this year. I don't think a lot of people predicted Mayfield and the Bucs to be at 7-7 with the NFC South division title basically in their hands with 3 weeks left to play if they can take care of business and ultimately win 2 out of their next 3. I mean, even if they lose 2 out of their next 3, as long as they beat the Saints, they still have a pretty decent chance of winning the division. So a lot of that is because of what we've been able to see from Baker Mayfield, from this offense getting better every single week, and the defense still being able to get the job done enough to where they can still close out and win some football games. But it's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be interesting what happens this upcoming offseason with Mayfield. Has he earned himself a big contract? Yes, I think he's earned himself a not a huge contract, but to say that Mayfield could be making $18 to $20 million in his next deal, I don't think is a crazy thing to say. I think that Mayfield has earned that type of deal. Now, will it be from the Bucs? Will it be from another team? I don't know. I think one thing that we've also seen is that a lot of teams might need quarterbacks moving forward, given all the different types of injuries and guys disappointing that we've seen. Yeah, that Mayfield might be in a little bit of demand this upcoming offseason, but kind of what Nick Shook was saying is that, he'll be the quarterback in Tampa long beyond 2023 if he can keep this type of play up. I imagine that if Mayfield finishes out the year strong, goes into the playoffs, is competitive, maybe even wins a playoff game, you gotta believe that the Bucs would definitely want to keep Mayfield around. Whether you agree with it or not, those are two very different things. Whether or not something that is somebody's opinion and what you feel is actually going to happen, two very different things. You're looking at something objectively, and then you're looking at something subjectively. The subjectively part is whether or not you believe personally the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should or shouldn't keep Baker Mayfield. Looking at it objectively is what you believe the team will ultimately do. And I think if the season ended right now, the Bucs would be very interested in keeping Baker Mayfield around. I really do believe that. I really do believe that the Bucs have been very happy with what they've seen from Baker Mayfield. I think that, yes, given this upcoming offseason with the potential of taking a quarterback, they can't ignore, and I don't think they will ignore, the stats that Mayfield has put up and the possibility of him being their guy for the next couple of seasons. So, just a couple of interesting articles that I wanted to share with you guys today. Do you think Baker Mayfield's been playing like a top 10 quarterback this season? Yes? No? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Do you think Baker Mayfield has earned himself a big contract this offseason? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that as well. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.